Okay, then now the next topic, 11th class, that is known as loop, or we can say the repetitive statements are here. So loop is generally using for the execution of repetitive statements or the block of statements as long as condition is true. So here is the first kind of loop, that is known as entry control loop, also that is while loop. While is again the keyword here we are using. Let's see its flow diagram or flow chart. Here is the data come, and this data or expression would be checked here. If the condition is true, then the body of loop would be executed again and again and again till the condition is false. If the condition is false, then it would automatically exit from the loop. So let's see the example of it. It would be more clear to you. Here I am taking x as a variable. I am passing here 1 as for the assignment operator we are using. So x will have here 1 value. Now while condition, while loop we are using here, while x less than equal to 5, that means it would check for the condition 1 is less than equal to 5 because x is taking here as a 1. Then these colons are here to declaring we are making here a block, and block will contain here a single element or as well as the multiple statements here as your programs demand. So here we have to print here x. So x is a variable we are printing, not as a character we are printing, so it will take the value as 1. Let's see the output of it. So here condition is true, then the output 1 would be printed here. Now the next statement is x is equal to x plus 1. So now x will have value as 2. Again this condition would be checked here. Now this time x value is 2. Now 2 is less than equal to 5. Again the condition is true and it would print here value as 2. Now again x would be incremented by 1. Now this time x value is 3 and it will go to the while loop again checking 3, 4 and 5. Now at that time x would be 6. It will go again at the same initial point here for the checking condition. Now this time x will have value as 6. 6 is not greater than equal to 5 here, condition is false. Now it would be terminated from the loop here, or in the second way we also can pass here else part for the alteration part here to declare whatever message we want to print here. So after this completion of this loop here, when the condition would be false, it would come to the else part, alteration part, and it would be executed. And in the alteration part there is only one statement, that is print statement exclamation mark. It would be printed like in this way. So here we have seen we are using here 3 elements of this while loop. First one is initialization, second one is test checking, and third one is update. Initialization, that means where we have to mention, we have to assign any value to a variable, like in this way we are assigning here 1 to the variable x here. Now the next one is text expression checking here, this checking we are talking about. Now the third one is update operator. For running of the loop we have to increment or decrement or whatever operation you want to perform here, we have to update that particular variable we are using in the condition. So here is update operator. It can be incremented, it can be decrement, whatever requirement of your program is saying, so it depends on it. So here we are generally categorized as 3 elements here. First is initialization, second one is test checking, and third one is updating the variable here. So this is all for the while loop. I hope so it's clear to you how can we use while loop here. Now the next one is for loop. Before for loop we have to understand something. Here is the range function we are using in for loop. Range functions has the 3 variations here. Basically why we use range function? Range function is used to define a limit from starting to end, where by default if you don't express here any initial value, so it will take by default 0 here. Let's see the variations of it. Range function is generally used for the assigning some sequences or some values there. So first variation is range of n, that means n is the number, that is the maximum limit here. So for example, range 5 I'm passing here, so it would take automatically from 0 to 4. It will take here -1, because 4 values or 4 elements you are taking, 5 elements you are taking here. So by default it would be starting from 0. So 0 to 4 it would take as 5. If we count these numbers here, these are 5 and the limit is 5 only. So it would starting from 0 by default and end with the 4. Now the next one is range. Here is original value, or you can say the initial value, and the last one argument would be the maximum value here. For example, range I am taking 2 to 5, so the initial value is 2. Now the from 2 to 5 here, so it will take again the -1 value here. So 2, 3 and 4, we are taking here 3 elements there. Now again its original value, that is the initial value, the last value, and the step. Here is one more step is incremented here. Step is what? The gap between the values we are taking. For example, range we are taking here 2, 5 and 2, that means 2 is the initial value, it will print here. Now the stepping is 2, that means we have to get here second element skipping the 1. So here we are writing here 2, 3 value would be skipped here, and the second element, that means the 4, would be printed here. Now 5 would be skipped here and 6 would be printed, but the limitation is 5 here only, so only 2 elements would be printed, or two values will be printed here, 2 and 4. So these are the 3 variations of the range which we can use here in for loop. So in the next video we will see how can for loop work.